Hold on.
We gotta go ahead and drink. Hey, Wrestling Fan Podcast. I got BJ Futrell here with me today. Another outstanding installment. I'm super excited to have him on. He's got an interesting shirt on there. That's what's that say? Pin Wrestling. So I know you got some big news, big announcements to make for today. Super glad that you could spill the tea here with Wrestling Fan Podcast first. But listen, folks, consider BJ a brother to me. Best man at his wedding. So we have thick history from childhood up to now. It's been super gratifying for me to watch him do his own thing in wrestling and in college and so forth. But first, I just want to start off. How you doing, BJ? What is BJ up to right now, and how you doing, my man?
Hey, well, Cassio, just with you being a great friend, mentor, and just positive role model that I've had in my life over the years, I got to start off by just saying thank you for inviting me on the podcast. I'm humbled and honored in so many ways. Like when you really look at both of our lives, we've charted a lot of the same territory. We both wrestled for the Harvey Twisters. We both went to Mount Carmel High School. We're state champions. We both attended the University of Illinois and became All-Americans there. So, and now you're a husband, you're a successful father, and
Right.
And it's just so empowering for me to be able to follow a lot of the same life trajectories that you've had and the life paths that you've traveled, and it's just an encouragement to me to just have you in my life as a friend, as a brother. So I'm excited to be on the podcast. Let's chop it up. Let's get into it.
Well, listen, man, I accept, because a lot of times as brothers, man, we don't say it enough, all those positive affirmations and things like that. So I accept graciously. I'm humbled to watch you and watch you be successful and do your thing and walk in my footsteps, so to speak. But I tell you what, you did everything that I did, but you did it better. And I'm happy about that. You won what, 2 state championships as in high school at Mount Carmel, 2-time All-American. You were sliding right on into being a 3-time All-American if it wasn't for some injuries. But listen, man, you did great, team captain. Everything that you've done is exemplary. And I was honored to be at your wedding, just at your wedding, let alone be your best man. So truly grateful for you. Trust me, I look up to you probably more than you even realize, although you say you look up to me. But it is what it is, man. It's back at you, and I'm grateful for the positive energy. But let's just drop the tea, and then we'll double back with your wrestling career. So what kind of news do you have for us as far as UPenn?
So dropping the bomb. This is a Wrestling Fam exclusive. Exclusive. You heard it here first. I am the next assistant coach at the University of Pennsylvania, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
That's
It's
awesome.
a tremendous opportunity to be able to not only represent this university, but to really break down some barriers and to be an assistant coach in the Ivy League, and to at this high of a level. I feel like coaching opportunities are very far and few in between, and I really kind of grew to understand that the further along I got in my wrestling career. And then once I retired, I coached for a year at the U.S. Naval Academy.
Right.
And, I'm currently the director of mentoring at Beat Streets Philly prior to this role at Penn. And so now to step into this role as an assistant coach at Penn, it's incredible. So
It's huge, man. And I couldn't be more happy for you. I know you're going to do great things there. They're lucky to have you. Tremendous recruiting opportunity with you there. Tremendous value add to all those wrestlers there. You're still in ridiculous shape. I'm watching your Instagram, and I'm watching the stuff you're still doing, man. You still got it. Even though you had a couple of injuries and setbacks, you've always climbed back and got your body back in good shape. And that's something you pride yourself on. And it's obvious, it's evident, and that positive energy is contagious, man. That hard work ethic is contagious. And here you are, you're progressing your career, and kudos to you. Kudos to you. So quick question I have is looking back at your actual wrestling career, high school, college, and things like that, and think about some of the adversities you had and some of the triumphs, and kind of just sum it up for me of your wrestling career, your experience, and how that kind of is positioning you to be a great coach.
Yeah, so starting out my wrestling career, I wrestled for the Harvey Twisters, which I think is one of, if not the greatest kids wrestling program in the country. And so being coached by Coach Futrell, but also my father as well, who was very influential in just all of my life success and everything that I've ever accomplished. He's been so influential and just a strong support system. I feel like that's been vital to me. So after grade school, I matriculated into Mount Carmel High School. I won 2 state titles, undefeated. But prior to that, a little bit more backstory is that I was 86 pounds my freshman year in high school. So that was a huge challenge to overcome. Just being so undersized. It took me a while to kind of hit my growth spurt. And so I was a small guy. So that really kind of forced me to kind of change my style and just add different things and different challenges just to wrestling that it presented. And so from there, I was fortunate enough to be able to get recruited to go to the University of Illinois and become a 2-time All-American there, as you hinted at earlier. My senior season, I was ranked number 3 in the country at the time. And I really felt like I was poised to make a run for a national title. And unfortunately, I had a season-ending injury. And but I mean, by God's grace, from every surgery that I've ever had, and I went through a period of having 8 surgeries in 9 years. I've been able to bounce back and come back stronger every time. So
what do you attribute to that bounce back, man? Because I'll tell you, injuries and just how I felt when I was done competing in college is a major reason why I talked myself out of maybe continuing or getting myself into a healthy state and repairing some of those injuries and getting stronger. And MMA. So a lot of people don't realize I actually trained with Phil Davis, national champ from Penn State in California for like a week. Just see if I really want to get myself into MMA and give it 100%. But that's nothing to play with. If you're not 100% into it, don't even do it. So I wasn't 100% into it. I didn't do it. But a lot of that reason was injuries and kind of probably psyching myself out. So how did you overcome those injuries every single time and keep going towards your goals, man? I think that's huge.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, I would say it was just by God's grace. And that may sound cliche, and some people may look at grace as like a religious term, but it can also be viewed as like a disposition or ability to do something. And so for me to have 9 surgeries and be able to or 8 surgeries in 9 years and be able to bounce back every time, I think that's definitely an anointing. I feel like it's definitely like something beyond myself. I had definitely a strong support system of people encouraging me, lifting me up, because there was definitely some dark times and dark moments within that. But also I would say just a strong sense of purpose. I felt like God was calling me to continue to compete, not only just to chase my dreams of being a world Olympic champion, but also just to use the platform that I was given to be able to tell other people the good news of the gospel. So if I had to sum it up in a couple of things, I would say grace, purpose, and a strong support system.
And I think that's a good segue into what your handle is. Your Twitter, your Instagram is Wrestling with Faith. So I'll post this for listeners and folks who are watching the video. But it's wrestling, not with spelled out, but just the W and faith. So hit up BJ on Instagram, Twitter, guys. And honestly, from what I remember, every time you did have those injuries or setbacks, your faith was strong and evident throughout those. So you like brought your audience and fans and people who are watching your social media with you, and you always had a verse for us in terms of you overcoming adversity and giving that reason as to why. So I kind of knew why, but I wanted you to articulate that to everybody else, man, because it's huge. It's huge. Yeah. And it's like, and one more thing before you chime in, it's like you watch I was watching the Wimbledon tennis right now. So Serena went down with that knee injury. That guy Federer was playing, went down with the knee injury, and they were slipping. I mean, you never know when it's going to happen to you. You could be training and everything will be going perfect for you, and just something happens. So it'll make you think about things. It'll make you think, can I do this? Should I continue? Should I pull the plug? Like, what's next? So for you to get back up and do it, time and time again, it's definitely commendable, and it's a testament to your faith, man. And I think that's huge, a huge note to be stated, my man.
Yeah. And I gotta say, so the Wrestling with Faith, I stole it actually from one of my teammates, Eric Terrazas, who's also another person that I really looked to while I was in college. Very pivotal point in any young man, young woman's life, where at that point in your life, you have the ability to make so many different decisions, and not only choosing what's right, but also denying yourself or not choosing some of the bad things. And so Wrestling with Faith is kind of like a double entendre, I think of it as. So yes, I'm out on the mat, I'm wrestling with faith, I'm trusting in the Lord, but also like to have faith is not easy. Like to trust in something that's not seen, that you can't physically touch. So I struggle with that. I know it's a lot of people that struggle with it, but I choose to struggle well with it. And that means like, I struggle, but I continue to press in. I continue to seek wise counsel. I continue to just press into God's word and the truth of God's word, and believe that is true, regardless of what my circumstance looks like. So it's been so many opportunities in my life when I've been able to just grow in my faith. And a lot of times those trials and those difficult moments have been opportunities for growth. I think as people, a lot of times we want to see God in our successes. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, God often reveals himself in our disappointments. Mm-hmm. And so it's during those disappointments, it's a verse that says, consider it great joy whenever you experience various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and endurance, and it must do its complete work, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. So I believe that every test, every trial, it's that God doesn't waste the pain of his people. And so I believe that it's for my good. It may not be good for me. It may not feel good in the moment, but I believe ultimately it's for my good. And I think that's just holding on to that hope, holding on to that faith, has really been able to put me in a position to now where after college, despite all the injuries, I was able to continue to compete and travel internationally, represent Team USA, and be on the U.S. national team, and go to 12 different countries, and now be the next assistant coach at the University of Penn. So I'm incredibly grateful, and I'm excited for this next chapter.
That's right. And it's an outstanding opportunity for you for a multitude of reasons. And we'll get into that. And part of that is like, from my vantage point, it's like that PRTC and just the coaching staff that's already there at the university, plus the regional training center. Just you're around a lot of studs. So it's like a lot of iron sharpening iron there. And there's no doubt in my mind that you're iron too. And it's going to be a good experience for you and everybody else involved. But let's backtrack just a second, man, because before we dive too deep into the coaching, I still want to touch on your freestyle post-college, right? Dude, you beat a lot of like national champs, you crushed them. You didn't just beat them, you crushed them in freestyle. So in my opinion, freestyle is your better style, like even over folk style. Like it's hard for people to really touch you in freestyle, So I was really excited every time you wrestled. If you didn't have those doggone injuries, man, like, we just don't know, the heights you would have went to, man, because you were wrapping up some studs. So talk about, that path, competing internationally. I know you touched on it a little bit, and it gave you opportunity to travel to different countries and things like that. But just tell us what you were feeling in those moments when you were crushing folks and just some of the emotions you were going through with intercollegiate wrestling.
Yeah, I really entered the international scene of wrestling like with a fire in my belly. So as I mentioned before, my senior year of college, I was having the best year I had ever had. I was 19-1 on the season. I wrestled in the All-Star Duel. I won the Northern Iowa Open. I won the Iowa State Open. I took second at the Midlands to Kendrick Maple, who was the eventual NCAA champion.
Right.
And I was on fire. I set the all-time record for pins at the University of Illinois. And so I was really just having an incredible season.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so then unfortunately I just had an injury that and it was a type of injury where I didn't even have a choice. Like it was the doctor stepped in and said, like, you don't have the option to compete. Like, we're not even putting this out of your hands. So it was an injury of that caliber. So
right.
It really was a time for me to kind of sit down with my family, talk about things, and kind of reevaluate my goals, and even kind of what my future looks like in the sport of wrestling, and even if I should continue wrestling, because I did have doctors tell me that I shouldn't, but like I said, it may sound cliche, but like just in my spirit, when the doctor told me that, I just knew that wasn't of God. I knew it wasn't true. Right. And I knew God still had something more for me on the wrestling mat. I didn't know if that was going to be a World Olympic title, but I knew I was still supposed to pursue it, and pursue it with courageousness. So, so I entered the international scene with just a fire in my belly, because I was so excited and just grateful to have the opportunity to be able to compete again, to have my body back healthy. And I really felt like I had unfinished business. I've always felt like freestyle was, of all the three styles, freestyle was the one that got me the most excited, because just your ability to be able to really score in bunches, and to take a guy from his feet to his back and get more points that than you would in folk style. So that was always super exciting for me. And we always, just at the Harvard Twisters, we put a big emphasis on freestyle. And I give my father a lot of credit for that, because early in my career, he always had me wrestling all three styles, folk style, freestyle, and Greco-Roman. And I feel like it's during that summer wrestling that I really had some of the biggest jumps in my wrestling career. And so, yeah, I was excited to hit the freestyle scene. And unfortunately, I had a few more injuries that kind of hindered me, but it was just an unbelievable experience to be able to travel to so many different countries, and go to Iran, go to Ukraine, go to Belarus, and be in training camps with all these different countries where we can't speak the same language, but we still share just the same sense of sportsmanship, the same, we're united and brought together by the sport of wrestling. And that's a beautiful thing, regardless of whatever the political tension may have been at the time when I was traveling. I think we all just came together and united as wrestlers, and in a competitive spirit. And so it was great to have those opportunities to be able to learn from some of the best wrestlers, and then be around some amazing coaches as well. So yeah, I can't. It's hard to kind of put into words, but I don't know if that answers.
No, you just did it. You just did it. Yeah, you just put it into words. And that camaraderie is part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast now. It's just some things, are understood between wrestlers, that brotherhood is real, and we know how hard we work. We know what we put into it. We know the sacrifices we make, and it's that mutual respect when you put it out there on the line. It's a combat sport, so you always have that mutual respect, and you know what it's about, because you really do put it on the line every time you go out there. But all right,
I would say it gave me the opportunity to be a global citizen too. Like I got friends in other countries, and it's a cool thing just to. Whether it's on Instagram and I see a comment from somebody that I met from India, like we were training partners, and cool. And just it's just really cool. It opened so many doors for friendships, for opportunities, for just getting to know other humans. It's really cool.
Right, and I know the international experiences that I've had have all been tremendous learning experiences, right? Because you're exposed to other cultures, you're exposed to, like you say, various political climates, and it's not just America. So when you're not in just that box, you kind of get a better understanding of the world, right? A better understanding of yourself and your place in the world, and it kind of just helps you become that man that you want to be, man. So that I said that for the kids, man, the youth that are out there watching. You don't know where it's going to take you, so just work hard, do what you got to do. And you don't know where your success is going to take you, and what experiences God's going to lay on you on that path. But yeah, let's transition into your leadership, man. You were a team captain basically all your life. Team captain with the Twisters, I know that for sure. Mount Carmel, U of I. Your leadership is just in your DNA, right? And you're continuing to be a leader. Most recently, You use your skill sets and your leadership with Beat the Streets organization on a mentorship level, on an administrative level. So you could speak briefly on that and about the difficult decision to transition to University of Penn, where you'll continue to be a leader and give back, but just in a different way. Because I know Beat the Streets is a outstanding organization, and it wasn't easy for you to make the decision because of how passionate you were about it. So you can speak to that just a little bit if you want.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about leadership is that good leaders, they create vision, they communicate a mission, and they set the trajectory for whatever organization, company you're a part of. But great leaders, they create other leaders, and they empower other people to come up behind them and even surpass them in some different ways. So I've been blessed to have so many great leaders, people that poured into my life to really give me some intangible tools to be able to be in the position that I am in today. And I'll just say that Beat the Streets is an incredible organization. I don't know if I've ever been aligned with another organization that I believed in their mission and their purpose and their guiding principles more than I do. So at Beat the Streets, it's a 501c3, so it's a nonprofit organization focusing on youth development, focusing on social impact. And so the way that Beat the Street does that is through, at least the Philadelphia model, is through wrestling programs, establishing wrestling programs throughout the city, with a focus on the underinvested communities, with also pairing that with mentoring and academic support and enrichment. So this incredible organization, it's been a great year, and I feel like we were able to kind of push the organization forward in a lot of different ways. My role as the director of mentoring, I was in charge of kind of just reaching out and recruiting mentors within the community, within the ecosystem of Philly wrestling, which is the Drexel University and the University of Pennsylvania, and having those guys sign up to be mentors for our students within our program. And this year we had the largest amount of mentors, one-to-one mentors that we've ever had in the history of the organization. And also we also had 100% grade advancement rate. And so that's big. That's a significant stat to kind of throw out there, because if you really look at the landscape of the Philadelphia education system, high school graduation or grade advancement rate is only at 69%. And so for us within this organization to really kind of come in and be somewhat of a lifeline support system and just an added resource to these students that need that extra support and resources. And I wouldn't even say it's extra. Like, a lot of people talk about the achievement gap between certain communities in the urban community. I would not say there's an achievement gap. I would say there's an opportunity gap. And so Beat the Streets is one of those organizations that's stepping in to close that opportunity and addressing some of the inadequacies of the public school system. And so it's an incredible organization. They got an incredible board and staff, and I can't thank Clint Motter, and who's the board chairman, and Jim Mangan, who's the executive director of Beat the Streets Philly, enough for just granting me with this opportunity to be able to serve the students and the families and the community of Philadelphia in the way that we have been in this past year, especially during COVID. That was so challenging. And I'm sure you guys have read all the statistics of how COVID and online learning affects under-resourced communities in a different way than it does in other communities. And so it's incredible just to see the resilience, the just intelligence, the ingenuity of the students and of the organization in and of itself. And so now, as I've accepted this position as the assistant wrestling coach at the University of Penn, it's really incredible, because I don't really even feel like I'm leaving Beat the Streets. I would say I'm more so just transitioning now into a different role, because Beat the Streets Philadelphia, Beat the Streets University of Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Regional Training Center, and Drexel University all work together to create this amazing ecosystem within the Philadelphia area. And so we all say we believe in better, and we believe in better for our students. And these partnerships wouldn't be possible without athletic departments, without directors and executive directors, coaches that all have a synergy and a commonality within their purpose, within their goals and values. And one of those being for Penn, community matters. And
Right.
for the RTC, it's about serving others. And so everyone within the organization has a heart geared toward serving and geared toward putting others first and geared toward just thinking outside of yourself. A lot of times I think we can become very self-centered as individuals and think the world revolves around us. Well, it doesn't.
Right.
And one of the things I always say is that I've never seen an apple tree eat its own apples. And the reason is because the gifts and the talents and the blessing, or the gifts, the talents, and all the things that you've been blessed with, it's not meant for you. It's meant for the betterment of other people. And so whether it's being able to instruct a young up and coming wrestler in wrestling and be able to help mentor him, whether it be through life or through his academics, helping him through that, the University of Penn is dedicated in helping to do that within the city of Philadelphia. And so that in and of itself makes me, I think it sets it apart from other programs. And one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is the core value of character first. And I think a lot of people, a lot of programs will say that they recruit character or care about character, but I think the proof is really in the pudding for Penn, is that's our first core value. And we value not just about the guy's success on the wrestling mat, but really about who they become as people. And so, it's an incredible organization, and I'm happy to help stand alongside these young men to help them become better and help them achieve their goals both on and off the wrestling mat.
Man, that was a mouthful. So I'm going to circle back to, your thoughts about UPenn, the coaching staff and all that. But before that, just thoughts on kind of what you just said. You said a lot, but I really like the whole achievement thing versus the resources available in order to even get to that achievement. It's not just, as easy as looking at the achievement or lack of achievement and saying, oh, they're not capable or something like that. It's definitely about resources. It's definitely about, and when you think about government and taxes and tax dollars and where they're putting the resources, that's one thing. But what's so important about organizations like Beat the Streets, like you were a part of, is that's a nonprofit 501c3, like you said, that help fill in those gaps. So if our government isn't putting the dollars exactly where they need to be, our local governments, whatever the state, local, state, whatever, is not allocating resources appropriately, and they're creating these disparities, there has to be nonprofit organizations that step in and people who give, right? It's not all about money when you're in service. So you're coming in to give and create better situations for other people. I think that's super huge and important for people to really understand. Anybody, I know for a fact, anybody can achieve if given the right nurturing and given the right resources and given the right stuff. So I'm tired of all the mess going on around here. And people like you should be applauded, commended for helping bridge those gaps, man. So that's awesome. And I just want to tell you that I'm super proud of you for that. And I know Beat the Streets was super honored to have you, and they're going to continue to be honored to have you around there and as a part of that ecosystem. And you guys are going to continue to do great things. So as far as UPenn, and we can kind of wrap up on this note, this is your new chapter. You're entering a new chapter with a new university. You've been a coach before, so you've been there, done that. And I personally know what you bring to the table. They're honored to have you. Trust me, the athletes, the coaching staff, the parents involved, recruitment. So I get it. But what are you most excited about with this opportunity as it relates to the coaching staff that's there, and part of that ecosystem, like the RTC, the coaches there, and like your experience? What are you most excited about her?
Man, it's so many things to be excited about. It's hard to narrow it down to just one. And really just going back
to, don't narrow it down to one. You can do three. Yeah. You can do three.
Really going back to that, I talked about the mission of Beat the Streets, which is to positively alter life trajectory
right.
for students in underserved communities.
Right.
And so when I say positively alter life trajectory, that can look different for everybody. So at Beat the Streets, it's not the common thought that every kid is on this exact same path, going to graduate high school, head to college. For some people,
right.
College might not be the best option.
Right.
That might be going into the workforce. That might be
a skilled trade.
That might be, it's going into the military. It's so many different options. And so, I mean, just like you talked about, Beat the Streets goal is to come alongside those students and give them the resources to be able to attain whatever it is that goal is.
Yeah.
And just give them the positive role models, the influence, the resources, the support, and the encouragement that somebody believes in you, somebody is here behind you, and that you are not alone. And so you are cared for, you're supported. And similar to that mission is as I'm stepping into this role now as a coach, like it's an amazing opportunity to be able to do something that you're really passionate about. And so I don't think many people get that opportunity in life. And prior to coaching at the University of Penn, I was a coach at the U.S. Naval Academy, and I was able to learn so much within that role. And I'm so grateful to have that opportunity. And so I got to thank Joel Sherritt for that. But now as I step into this role at the University of Penn, I'm excited just to be able to help these young men become better versions of themselves, to grow in their character, to go on and be successful in life and whatever that is. And I think, I think we can kind of get short-minded on what we feel like success is. Like success to me is more than just getting your hand raised on the wrestling mat. Success is going on to be to graduate, first off, to go on and graduate, but being successful in whatever endeavor you pursue, and then hopefully being successful husbands, successful fathers, and things of that nature, and really seeing the difference between what some people would call success and significance. Right. So moments of success is all about me. It's me getting my hand raised, me getting this degree, me achieving this high feat. But moments of significance is all about other people. And so really being others minded and realizing, like I talked about, that the world doesn't revolve around you, and the gifts and the talents that you do have, you can use that for the betterment of other people. So allowing these young men to be able to grow and flourish in a positive, healthy environment, not just on the mat, but off the mat. And it's a room that's loaded with talent. And I get the opportunity, I selfishly get the opportunity to be able to learn from a Hall of Fame coach, and Coach Roger Reina, and coach alongside of Brian Pearsall, who's a 4-year starter at the University of Penn, or Penn State University. So, and it's a team loaded with talent. And as we know, the Ivy League didn't allow any schools to compete this past year. So I think after having a year taken away, the championship season taken away via COVID, and then having to sit out this entire year, I think as a Penn wrestling organization, I think we're going to see some of the best wrestling that we've ever seen, because guys are going to come out hungry, and I'm going to preach, come out hungry, wrestle with heart, and hustle. Hunger, heart, and hustle. That's what I'm preaching as a coach.
Like that. Hunger, heart, and hustle. Triple H.
Heart, hustle. So
Triple H. I like that.
Couldn't be more excited about it.
Good, man. So honestly, on that note, we can wrap up, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you blessing the podcast. Guys, follow BJ. Follow BJ at Wrestling with Faith. Watch his journey, watch the team's journey. There's a lot of blessings that are going to come through for not only yourself and your family personally, but I know all the folks you're going to touch along the way, the staff and the wrestlers alike. So excited for what you're about to do. Excited for you to come visit me this weekend. Shh, don't tell everybody. But yeah, man, we'll have a good time. You're my brother, man. Safe travels when you get down here, and we're gonna have a good time. But listen, thank you guys. Wrestling Fine Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. And listen, like and subscribe. I need you guys to like and subscribe so we can get the viewership up and do some powerful things here. Any partnerships are welcome as well. So we can keep this going. This is a wrestling family, is a special community, a tight-knit community, and we need to grow this thing. So Thank you for listening. Streaming on SoundCloud now too. So if you can't watch the video, check it out on SoundCloud. Best of luck to you, BJ. Much loves, many blessings, my
Coach
brother.
BJ.
Coach Futrell. Coach Futrell. Back to the Futrell, everyone. And we're out. Wrestling Fan Podcast. Your host, Cassio Pero. We're out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.